Hey everyone, I am here to discuss the groundbreaking, crazy energy of this lunar eclipse in Taurus that we have tomorrow morning, happening at 6 o'clock Eastern Time in the morning. And this one I've been kind of talking about, dropping little hints here and there throughout my podcast, in previous videos. This is one of the reasons why I created the whole soul alignment karmic release session that I have on my website, is because this particular lunar eclipse is not like most eclipses. I mean, eclipses already are crazy dramatic, right? Like they're like a full moon on steroids. But this particular lunar eclipse, it's like, not only do you have so many of our personal planets involved in this particular one, I mean, all the planets are talking together pretty much except for Chiron. Chiron's just kind of out there doing its thing. But on top of that, the moon is actually eclipsing Uranus at the same time. So you've almost got like this double eclipse energy happening. And then on top of that, what's kind of coming to a culmination is this Saturn-Uranus square that we experienced all through 2021. We had 3 points of it. This year, we just finished the height of it in the first week of October. And finally, they're separating. Saturn and Uranus are separating now, and we're pretty much done with it, okay? Like, it's over. We're getting out of it. But there is something about this particular eclipse that is a massive culmination that is asking you to show up and do things very differently than you've ever done before. So this is like a really big turning point for a lot of us. Of course, remember, eclipses, you're not going to have something massive happen tomorrow. I mean, it's quite possible that you could have something happen tomorrow that will then play out over the next few months. But what I think most of us are seeing is that we're starting to get hints of it. And we're going to start to see how this eclipse actually plays out in our lives over the next few months. Just keep in mind that in 6 months from now, we're going to have another total lunar eclipse in Scorpio at the literally 1 degree off of where it is right now. So something is going to be coming into light in May, even further. Okay, so what just started with the solar eclipse in Scorpio a couple weeks ago, you're going to see really culminate in May, but there's something about this particular one too that's just making this so much more dramatic. Of course, we have the planet Uranus highlighted on this full moon. And Uranus is all about big changes, right? Surprises, liberation, breaking free of the traditional things that you've always done. Wants you to break free of the old guard, the old ways, whereas Saturn is really kind of like the bucket handle of this entire operation. It's like at the helm of the big T square. And so Saturn is, you could look at it as like this big kind of energy that's not wanting things to change. But I don't even want to say that, because Saturn does want you to do things differently, in a sense that you need to be more responsible. You need to show up for some things. There's lessons that need to be learned. But Saturn is also a protector of the old ways of doing it. Saturn is very traditional, and Uranus is wanting to break free. So one of the things we have to think about here is that, with there being the Venus, Mercury, and the Sun all in Scorpio, this is highlighting a lot of intimacy, truth, secrets, banking, investments. Intuition is at an all-time high right now, guys, like all-time high. The occult, psychology, all of that. So you have Venus, Mercury, and the Sun sitting there opposing this full moon and Uranus. And so there may be some feelings here where, because the planet of Venus, of love, of harmony, right, diplomacy, and you have it next to Mercury, very close to Mercury, contracts, information, communication. Something is getting illuminated here. Secrets are coming to the light, and some of us may feel very scorned. I know that I'm actually going through all of this. I literally had all of this discussed on our live call in Alchemy on, what was it, the 8th of October. And I literally talked about all of this. And I'm just like going over all my notes, and I'm like, wow, it's literally happening to me right now. Just finding out secrets that I wasn't meant to find out, finding out that things that I thought were valued of me were not valued of me in the way that they should have been. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty scorned right now. Not that it's a bad thing. I think everything comes out for a reason. And in fact, I think it kind of sets me free in some ways. So, I'm not like, I am bummed out about it a little bit because I'm disappointed in the person who has scorned me. But I also see that there's value here. You need to be able to see the truth. And Scorpio likes to pull things way deep that are hiding, that are lurking in the shadows, and pulling it straight up to the surface to be seen. Now, Uranus and this full moon, okay, in Taurus with the North Node, which is all about your destiny. This is all about, where your soul is trying to guide you. It's about your soul alignments. There is a massive shakeup happening right now. There's a massive shakedown happening, actually, for your destiny. It feels like destiny is shaking us all down right now. And I'm going to be going into more details on that on the podcast with Mary Ducina tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. But I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of my own personal understanding of what I think this lunar eclipse is bringing forth. And so this is truly going to be a bit of a challenging time, an unsettling time. But if you were proactive during the Saturn retrograde all summer, okay, and into the early fall, and you were doing the work that you knew you needed to do, you weren't being lazy, you weren't putting it off, I think you might be in for some pleasant surprises for this total lunar eclipse in Taurus. There are some really great surprises that could come out of this, depending on where you are in your journey and how your chart is sitting with this whole configuration. But I do feel that some of us are going to have trouble letting go of things, possibly because there is this sense of feeling scorned or being done wrong by. There's also this sense of contracts ending or being rearranged in some way because of the Mercury influence. But it's all about you finding your true worth, your true value. When we talk about Taurus energy, and it's all about our value system, your own self-worth, it does have to do with money. There are definitely going to be money issues highlighted here for everyone in some capacity, but really bringing it down to a more of emotional, personal level. I think that we're all being challenged to do things differently in a way that actually honors the self-worth we've been building over the last year and a half. And I say that because there's been a huge theme of that since there was like oh gosh, why am I drawing a blank on it? It had something to do with the Chiron energies last year. So I want to say stay steady, stay very calm over the next few days. If you feel like going off the handle on someone, trust me, you're not alone. But that's not going to likely resolve things in the way that you want things to proceed in your future. So this is literally about changing things up. This is about doing different things differently. You are being called to do things in a much different way so that you can finally break the history of the narrative you've been living and start forming a new story that truly lives up to the soul alignments that you are feeling very pulled towards right now. It's really important at this time to take stock of what it is you want your future to hold. Where have you been really guided towards? What have you been holding back on? What have you been dragging your heels on? No more. No more. It's really time to take the reins of your own chariot. Okay, when we talk about like the Chariot card, and really taking control of your destiny, this is so important. I want to say this. Your destiny is often written in the stars in many ways, but you are not You are not at the mercy of the stars. You have free will here. And truly, what your destiny calls you towards is based off of the choices that you make, whether you choose to go along with that or not. And one of the ways that your destiny is truly brought into form is through discipline. Discipline is your avenue to the destined outcome of your greatness. And so being disciplined at this time is really important. It's very Taurian energy, is, just taking your time, being steady, you don't need to rush things. I want to say that again. Do not rush something you do not feel compelled to do in this moment in a sense of reaction wise. Okay, if you are feeling reactionary, because this lunar eclipse is going to cause a lot of triggers, do not react. Really take your time, be very methodical, be very slow and very intentional in everything that you're doing. But this is your breakout moment. This is your break free moment. This lunar eclipse is setting a lot of things into play so that you can finally break free of some of the chains that I want to say many of us have put on ourselves, okay? Through our own way of thinking, but also when we talk about that Scorpio energy and where the South Node is, right, about releasing things, it's the dragon's tail. Scorpio is all about purging. It's about letting go. It's about getting rid of the things that are just not good for us. And we talk about the deep psychological healing qualities that are in Scorpio. And I think it's about renegotiating your contract with destiny, renegotiating your contract with yourself. I feel like there's a big theme around that with your own value system, how you see yourself, how you want to see yourself show up in 2023. I just feel like 2023 is a breakout year for a lot of people if they really, truly capitalize on what's going on right now. So remember, the stars are here to help you if you want, or you can go against it. And it just depends on how adamant you are in like what it is that you believe in and what you want and how that's going to turn out. But of course, if there's a contract here that is part of your learning process, better to not drag your heels, better to run into it. Remember, one of those things, it's the funny thing about pain and the storm is that the storm will always chase you if you run away from it. But the storm will be over much sooner if you run through it. The faster you run into it, the faster you come out of that storm. So I just want to keep that in mind because it feels like there's going to be like a mixed bag of how people are experiencing this. And it's really based on what are you ready to face and what are you still running away from. And I think this is kind of putting a really big pull your panties up kind of moment for all of us. And it's like, no, it's time to face what you need to face, not because it's a punishment, but because you're ready. You are ready for what is happening right now. So that's my message for you guys. Of course, we're going to go into much deeper details on the podcast tomorrow night with Mary Ducina. It will be a live podcast. I don't usually do them live anymore, but this one will be live because it is the lunar eclipse. And Mary and I thought it would be great to be able to take questions from some of you. So please tune in, come and drop into the live chat here on YouTube, and it will be broadcasted out to all my other platforms. Guys, if you need your own personal session, if you really want to understand how to capitalize on this lunar eclipse, what's in store for you, what are the big surprises, what are the shakedowns, what is the universe trying to get you to see, to face, and not run away from, what is it that you cannot avoid, I highly suggest booking a session in my soul alignment karmic release on my website. The links are in the description below, of course. Or this is a really, really good time to do inner child healing because this is about truly illuminating the dark depths of old contracts we made as a child, with our belief systems and, the people around us and how that's playing out in our lives right now. All of that is kind of coming up for a review right now so that you can move in a different direction and have healthier relationships. I told you guys, Venus is playing a huge role because she's the ruler of the North Node. There is a huge theme of relationships right now. I am seeing breakups, breakdowns, breakthroughs, a whole mess of things, new relationships coming in, new contracts coming together. So it's pretty wild. It's a total mixed bag out there. So just keep that in mind as you're moving forward. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I love you guys so much. If you loved it, please share it, like it, subscribe if you're new. I've got a whole bunch of new followers on Instagram lately. So if you're tuning in here, welcome. And I hope that you enjoy some of the content that I put out. Guys, have a very safe lunar eclipse, but also I hope it's epically, surprisingly wonderful for you. I know that some of you are going to have some really big surprises in store that are going to blow your mind in a really good way. All right, so I love you guys and have an awesome day.